And so she went upstairs and she flung herself dramatically off one of the balconies. Hi, I'm Matt from Tabitaro. Welcome to another 10 Talk Tuesday. So today I'm going to be doing a video about South African urban legends and ghost stories that do the rounds in my country. So I'm going to mention 4 of them. The first one is actually a Zulu or African myth, all right? And it's ingrained in all African cultures. There's a variant of this in all African cultures. And it's called, in South Africa, it's called the Maiden of the Rivers. And it's about this young woman, this young girl in a tribe, and she went down to collect water from the river just below her kraal. Well, the kraal is like an area where everybody lives and they keep their sheep and their cattle. And she was attacked, all right, by a neighboring tribe. And they, of course, did all their terrible things to her on the riverside, and she cursed them as she was dying, and she said that the river on their side would always run with blood, would run with their blood. And every time that someone, from then on, every time someone would come to the river from the other tribe on the other side to collect water, they swear that they would see this maiden standing on the opposite side of the river. And by the time they got the water back to their village, the water had soured. It was all slimy and sludgy and had worms and things in it. And no amount of sort of intervention changed this. This tribe would always go to the river and they would always see this maiden, and the water would always be brackish and sluggish when they got back. Okay, the other one I've got for you, and this is one I've experienced myself. It's actually quite a sweet little one. It's called Max the Cat at the museum. Now in Cape Town, here in South Africa, there are many different museums, and one of the museums is called the Huguenot Museum, and it is a museum of furniture and paintings from way back when the Dutch settlers came to South Africa. And in this museum, there is, I don't know if he's still around, there was Max the Cat. And Max the Cat was this black cat that just took up residence in the museum. And when we went down to Cape Town many years ago, my mom and myself and my then partner, we went to this museum. It was beautiful, and we were told about Max the Cat because there was this black cat running around inside the museum. And they were actually trying to rehome Max the Cat because Max the Cat was clawing and sharpening his claws on antique furniture that went back to, like, you know, the dromedaris and the sort of the founding fathers' ships that that came to South Africa. These freaking bits of old furniture were like hundreds and hundreds of years old, and here's Max the Cat scratching at these things. Anyway, so we were very excited to meet Max the Cat, who apparently lived there for many years. He was kind of more, he was a part of the museum. And anyway, we took lots of photographs of my mom on this big staircase going down from the 2nd level to the 1st level, and Max the Cat was sitting on the staircase. And then there was a huge big piano or some funny piano thing, and Max the Cat was on top of that, and we took photos of him and everything. And you know, the weirdest thing is, in 3 of the photos that we took, and I know Max the Cat was in the photographs. When we developed the photographs, that's how long ago it was. This was not like digital photographs. This was actually developing photographs. You took it to the photo first, to wherever you live. Max the Cat was not in those photos. So I would say that's probably like the closest I've ever come to running into a ghost cat. Personally, I just think that Max the Cat was really fast, and just as I lifted the camera, Max the Cat jumped out of frame. But there were 3 photographs that I know Max the Cat was supposed to be in them, but he wasn't. Especially the one that freaks me out the most was the one with my mom standing on the staircase, because he was right next to her. He was sitting right there, and there wasn't actually anywhere for Max the Cat to go. He couldn't, we were sort of in the middle of the staircase. He couldn't really run up or run down to get out of the frame. So it was a little bit weird, but we knew Max the Cat was a real cat. So, but that's my little ghost story about Max the Cat. Now, in Chatsworth, where it's one of the suburbs where I live, it's predominantly an Indian suburb. To get there, you need to go onto a specific road. It's a very long straight road with one or two small bends in it. And it's called the Higginson Highway. And one night, this young woman was hitchhiking. Well, she wasn't hitchhiking, she was walking along the road. And it was very late. She had on this, like, her little party frock, her white frock, and, you know, little party outfit. And this guy stopped and he said to her, you know, my dear, why are you walking here so late? It's dark, it's like raining, you know, it's so miserable. Hop in, I'll give you a lift. Anyway, the girl didn't say anything. She got into he opened the back door for her, and she got into the car. And he was chatting away, and he was looking at, you know how you talk to someone, and then you look into the rearview mirror, and then you look down again, you look into the rearview mirror. And he was chatting, and he said to her, you know, do you live close by? No, there's no answer. And he said to her, you know, live close by. We live just around the corner. And he was telling her, and as an older Indian gentleman, he was like telling her about him and his wife, and, you know, the kids, and just general chat. Anyway, eventually got to the stop street as you drove into, like, the main area of Chatsworth or Shellcross or one of those areas. And he was like, he was going to turn around and say to her, well, show me where to go now. You know, do I go left? Do I go right at the robots, at the traffic lights? And as he turned around, she was gone. Okay. And in South Africa, in Chatsworth, she is known as Highway Sheila. Okay. And the story goes that Highway Sheila was a pretty young girl who was traveling with some friends, and their car broke down on Higginson Highway, and they were attacked, and she was viciously raped and killed. And what she does now is every time, the certain time of the year or the month on the anniversary of her death, she haunts that specific stretch of Higginson Highway, of highway, where she will come out and she'll just hop into the back seat, and then once they've reached the part of the highway that she doesn't haunt, she disappears. And this has been seen by so many people. It is an urban legend, I think, not only in South Africa, but in many countries. I know America has this on one or two of their highways, where they have the mysteriously disappearing lady. And anyway, that's one of the, we also have we have Highway Sheila. And the last one I want to tell you about is about a hotel in Nottingham Road. And Nottingham Road is about an hour's drive from where I am. It's up into the mountains, and it's a beautiful little town. And it's very rural. And there's this old hotel. It used to be like, it's probably about 200 years old, maybe even older. It was like the very, very first inn at that time for people coming down from the north of the country, coming down to the south. And it's called the Notties Hotel, or the Nottingham Road Hotel. And we call it the Notties. And at the Notties, you can book into room number 10. Now, room number 10 is haunted, but it's haunted in such a weird way, because what happens, you book into room number 10 and you go to sleep, and in the morning, all your clothes are folded up really neatly and left on your bed for you. I'm not making this up. I couldn't if I tried. So the story goes that there was this young woman, and she was in love. She was one of the chambermaids at the hotel 200 years ago, and she was in love with this nobleman. And of course, he came riding into town one day, and he had his wedding reception at the hotel, and she was there, and he kind of ignored her, even though he'd been doing the horizontal tango with her for many months. He kind of ignored her, and she got all like freaked out and sort of completely upset by this. And so she went upstairs and she flung herself dramatically off one of the balconies. Now, the balconies are not very high. They're probably only about, 6 foot off the ground. So I don't quite know how that would have killed her. It would probably just have given her a very bad bruising. Anyway, so she flung herself dramatically off this balcony, and she died. And now her ghost haunts room number 10. Apparently that's where she flung herself off. But why her ghost folds everybody's clothes, I have no idea. I think it's because she's still got that little bit of a chambermaid inside her soul. Anyway, so that is the video for today. Those are the 4 really cool little things that I've picked up in South Africa that I know personally about, especially Max the cat. So I hope you've kind of enjoyed this light-hearted video. If you guys have any little stories, don't make it too big, but any little stories of your own you'd like to tell me from anywhere in the world, leave it downstairs in the comments. And yeah, I'm Matt from Toby Tarot. I'll see you next week for some more 10 Talk.